like to call the meeting to order this morning. It is Wednesday, January 21st at 9:30, and this is our regular meeting of the Ottawa City Commission. Could we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Reed,
Present.
Commissioner Skidmore, Commissioner Jorgensen,
Present.
Commissioner Dickinson,
Present.
Commissioner Kaler.
Present.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Well, I'd like to welcome everyone who's here this morning. We have a room full of bright, smiling faces. Wonderful to see. And lots of red color, too, and that's also a great thing for this morning. And welcome everyone else who's in the room as well, and those who might be listening on the radio or watching on our Government Access channel. So we're going to begin the meeting this morning with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm sure all the boys and girls in the room will join us as well. And then our invocation will also be led by our Sacred Heart third grade. And I believe that will be begun with Wade Nichols. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, you guide us and govern everything with order and love. Look upon the assembly of our city leaders and fill them with the spirit of your wisdom. May they always act in accordance with your will and their decisions be for the peace and well-being of all. Amen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nichols. So we will begin our meeting this morning with the consent agenda, which is just an agenda this morning. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner,
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So our agenda has been approved. Do we have anyone registered this morning for public comments? Nope. Okay, so we won't read the paragraph in item 7, but in item 8, I will proceed at this time with declaration to give commissioners a chance to declare any conflict or any communication they've had that might influence their ability to consider today's issues impartially. Nope. Okay, then that will move us right on into new business with item number 9.
A proclamation recognizing Catholic Schools Week.
Catholic Schools Week is celebrated nationally the last week in January. This year, that week is January 25th through the 30th, and this year's theme is Hearts for Christ, Hearts for Community, Hearts through Innovation, Hearts of Excellence, Hearts to Serve. This proclamation recognizes the contributions of Sacred Heart School, its students, and alumni to our community. Principal Lisa Blaze and the third grade students from Sacred Heart School will accept the proclamation, and since it's somewhat close to her heart, Commissioner Kaler will be reading the proclamation this morning. And I think we have a couple teachers with us as well this morning that will be accepting the proclamation. We'll let you introduce yourself and your speakers. So, Commissioner?
Perfect, thank you. And the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas Catholic Schools Week is an annual national celebration of the important role that Catholic elementary and secondary schools across the country play in providing an education that emphasizes not only academics, but also spiritual, moral, and social values. And whereas Sacred Heart School, Ottawa, Kansas, has been an academic institution in our community for more than 60 years. And whereas the mission of Sacred Heart School is to love God and one another, to help each other, to learn for today and tomorrow. And whereas the year's theme is Hearts for Christ, Hearts for Community, Hearts through Innovation, Hearts through Excellence, Hearts to Serve. Students and alumni of Sacred Heart Catholic School provide vital contributions to our community, and through well-balanced curriculum, tools to master academic, social, and technological skills, and the cultural appreciation needed for success and lifelong learning, Sacred Heart students are well prepared to contribute positively to church and society through leadership and service. Whereas the continuing support of this community and its citizens contributes to Sacred Heart's ability to achieve its mission. Now, therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby proclaim January 25th through 30, 2015 as Catholic Schools Week. and urges its citizens of Ottawa to recognize the many accomplishments and opportunities that this outstanding school provides to our community. Signed this the 21st day of January 2015 by our Mayor, Linda Reed.
So, who do we have that wants to accept this morning? The teachers, do you want to come up and then?
Jabor?
Is it Ms. Kristen Javor?
Yeah.
Is that right? Then we'll let you have the microphone.
Thank you so much.
And I think he may want to get your
You'll
picture
wanna look
looking
that
over
way.
there. Yeah. Okay.
Hi, my name is Kristen Jabor. I'm their third grade teacher. I have Hope Crabtree. I have Sam Clevenger with us. I have Jenna Ladd with us. And also Amelia Caitlin.
Good morning, Mayor and City Commissioners. We want to thank you for inviting us here today for the proclamation recognizing Catholic Schools Week. We'd like to share with you some of the reasons Sacred Heart Grade School is important to us. First, we get to go to Mass and have a holy life. Second, we receive God's good education so we can have a bright future. Third, the teachers are kind, generous, and caring to all the students, and they listen to everybody.
Fourth, we read awesome books because our school cares that we get a good education. Our entire school read a great book based on a true story called The One and Only Ivan. We would recommend this book to everyone. The author narrated a book for young children and wrote a second book from Ivan's perspective. This is a book for all ages.
Last but not least, we love our music class because we learn a lot about music and we have a choir.
Fantastic. Do we have anyone else today that's going to speak? Well, thank you all so much, and thank you for being so well behaved and disciplined and listening so well this morning. I'm always very impressed with the way you behave yourself. Hopefully you'll learn a little bit this morning about how we can handle some of the business in our city that you all are a part of. So thank you for joining us. So that will move us on to item number 10.
A proclamation recognizing Kansas Day.
Kansas Day is January 29th and marks the 154th anniversary of Kansas becoming a state. Meg Dickinson, Meg is here. Meg will be accepting the proclamation, which reads as follows. Whereas January 29th of 2015 marks the 154th anniversary of the state of Kansas becoming a state, and whereas the land that would become Kansas came to be part of the United States with the acquisition of the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, and whereas Kansas entered the United States as a free state during the presidency of Abraham Lincoln in 1861, and whereas the state seal contains the state motto, ad astra per aspera, a Latin phrase which means to the stars through difficulties. This motto, adopted in 1861, refers not only to the pioneering spirit of the early settlers, but also to the difficult times that Kansas went through before becoming a state. John James Ingalls, a powerful voice in early Kansas history, suggested the motto as an expression of the aspiration of Kansas to reach the unattainable. Its dream is the realization of the impossible. Now therefore, the governing body of the City of Ottawa, Kansas, does hereby recognize Thursday, January 29th, 2015 as Kansas Day, and reminds all citizens to celebrate the rich and powerful heritage of Kansas, a land of determination and strength, signed this 21st day of January by the Mayor, Linda Reed. And Liam wants to participate. That is great, and you can have the podium there.
Well, I have my little helper with me today, several of them actually. I could not do justice to this proclamation the way that Miss Rita Neinstead could if she was here, but I'm honored to have the opportunity to accept the proclamation on behalf of the Ottawa Library. And we do want to encourage the community to come to the library. We have a wonderful collection of books about Kansas, and then also books by Kansas authors. And I thought in honor of the day I would read 3 interesting facts about Kansas. The first woman mayor in the United States was Susan Medora Salter, and she was elected to office in Argonia, Kansas in 1887. That was interesting. Amelia Earhart, first woman granted a pilot's license by the National Aeronautics Associate, and the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean was from Atchison, Kansas. And thirdly, in 1990, Kansas wheat farmers produced enough wheat to make 33 billion loaves of bread, or enough to provide each person on earth with 6 loaves.
Wow, that's cool.
Lots of interesting things about Kansas,
Yeah.
but we thank you so much for the proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. Okay, item 11, please.
Continuation of a public hearing for the purpose of considering condemnation of a single-family residence and accessory structure on the property located at 731 South Oak.
This public hearing has been called for the consideration of the condemnation of a single-family residence and accessory structure located at 731 South Oak. City staff will present the details of this request for condemnation. At this time, I will open the public hearing.
Good morning. As you all recall, we actually started this hearing back in November and then continued to December and then to today. I have put on your desk all of the material from before because it has been some time. I'm just going to quickly go through this because we have done it before, but just as a refresher, this property was damaged in a fire last January, and we posted it. This structure, unlike some of the ones that we took care of before, is on the outside. It's stable and it's functional at this point. It just needs to be resolved, and that's what we've been hoping to be able to do with the owners. It's been vacant since that time. So the findings that we gave you before, the staff about the statute findings about the consideration for condemnation are all present. Here's some exterior shots of the structure from last year. It's grown up over that time and that kind of stuff. Now here's some of the interior shots of the fire and the work that has to be done to clean that out and then be able to do some analysis of the structure. We do think it's possible for the structure to be saved. It's just more a matter of moving it from where it is now into a position to where something could happen. As you recall, a relative of the owner came to us at that time and indicated that they hoped to acquire the property. We've since had additional contact here today with him that he's still trying to get approved for a loan for that sale to happen. If that doesn't work out, it's my understanding he communicated to our staff that he would then that the family or the people responsible would sell the structure. Given that and the fact that this could just continue on, what we recommended for your consideration, and you can do whatever you like, was that we give them about 90 days. It's my understanding that they think it'll take about 60 days to find out about that loan. Give them 90 days to start or to resolve it in some manner, and then 90 days to make substantial progress on the structure itself. The timing is a number, but that would at least get us past where we are and not keep having this on the agenda with this sort of unknown out there. However, you have the opportunity to close the hearing and then not act on the resolution if you decide that's the direction you want to take. But that was just our recommendation at this point in time.
Are there any questions for Wendy?
So that's roughly 5 months from when we first had the hearing on the
Yes.
on the structure.
Yeah, we can, and then as you know, that when we get into that second 90, which is when the actual work would be anticipated, if things are going along, then we can extend at that point. But just so that it's not an indefinite time period is really what we're after, is to establish a time frame and then have something where we're every month or so communicating with them about the progress, both in terms of a sale and in terms of remediating the structure.
So has there been any action that has been taken on this property since the November 5th date?
Not to my knowledge.
So it's been 60 days and there's been...
Right. Only thing I know is we, as I told you at the last time, we would communicate with the folks, and they came in and said they're still working on trying to get a loan. But I don't know if they've done anything inside, not to my knowledge.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Has there been any efforts to do any of the cleanup, or is the pictures that we're seeing pretty much the current state?
You should ask them, I don't
Okay.
know. To my knowledge, that's what we have as data.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak during this public hearing?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. If you could just state your name and address, please.
Terry Roberts, okay, 731 South Oak.
Thank you.
And I've tentatively sold the property, okay? And so the owner will be taking possession probably in the next 60 or 90 days. So I just wanted to inform you and bring you up to date. Okay, my loan is still going through, but it hadn't went through with the Navy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other comments from the public? Any other comments? Then at this time, I will close the public hearing, and we'll go ahead and move to item 12.
A resolution to condemn an unsafe and dangerous single-family residence and accessory structure located at 731 South Oak in the city of Ottawa, Kansas.
This resolution authorizes this governing body to declare the single-family residence and accessory structure located at 731 South Oak to be unsafe or dangerous, and to direct that such structure be demolished or repaired and made safe and secure. So I would entertain a motion just to get our discussion going, please.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner.
I think we have a responsibility to the public at large, especially the neighborhood and the other residents of our community to keep structures decent, safe, and sanitary. I think from the pictures that we've seen of this structure, something needs to be done, and we've already had a public hearing and have moved down the road. As Ms. Lee has said, we can always extend it if more time is needed to close the loan that he describes. So therefore, I move to approve the resolution as described in item 12 of the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
I'll second as far as to move the conversation forward.
So it has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution as stated in item 12. Is there any discussion then?
I think because we have had some leniency on this so far, obviously there's still steps that they could take. So if they continue to move forward and communicate with us, we can continue to give some of that leniency. But when it goes 60 days without any movement, then I just think we have to continue to move down that road.
Mrs. Lee, have they had pretty consistent conversations with your office, or has that been?
No, actually, as a result of the last time we continued, we sent a letter, and then Mr. Roberts came in. Haven't been any other conversation. Back when we first held the hearing, I think I shared with you, there had been another person that had indicated they had some responsibilities. Well, we haven't heard from them since then. So it's been mostly at our direction. We'd like to shift that conversation, obviously, to their direction.
And it appears from your inspections that the home is salvageable.
Yes, very.
And I don't think by condemning it, we're moving towards demolition.
Right.
No, we really are just in an effort to try and help it get to the point where it can be cleaned out and resolved. We do believe, you're going to see an example later, but fires all take different tolls. This particular one, we believe the structure can absolutely be salvaged.
Right, and I think that's the intent of all of us as well, is to make sure that we try to get that back into a safe condition, put it back in use in our community.
But it is of great importance that if someone were to be listening to this meeting and they were to get a letter from your office, to work with you,
Right.
to call you. I mean, we're all human, and everyone in your office is a human, and they have compassion too, and you want to work with them. Is that correct?
Right, I mean, most of those structures we looked at in November were fires that happened last winter. So we start off with any kind of situation, generally speaking. If the structure is safe in its current condition, then we want to give folks time to get through the insurance process, time to get relocation settled, because obviously all those things are life-altering at that moment in time. But when it heads into 6-8 months and we don't see any significant change or no direction, then we're back to Commissioner Jorgensen's point where the neighborhood is concerned about the opportunity for something to happen because they have a vacant structure that has been damaged and could be damaged again, and we don't want that either. So we just want to see it move from this position to the next step.
Any further discussion? Well, it has been moved and seconded to approve the resolution to condemn the unsafe and dangerous structure at 731 South Oak. Could we have the roll call vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
I vote yes, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Item 13, please.
Lease agreements with individuals farming land recently purchased by the city.
The city manager will present the farm lease agreements with individuals currently farming land that was recently purchased by the city. This extension for a year recognizes the efforts of these individuals farming the acreage, as well as the continuation of the goodwill that was established during negotiations for acquiring the parcels. Mr.
So I think
Nystad.
that says it all, Commissioners, what the background on the leases are. And I want to reiterate, these are not new people farming this land. These are people that have farmed this land, and we actually engaged in a conversation with them if they want to continue that, and as a matter of goodwill on our part. So what I would ask you to do is, we have one signed lease back from Mr. Clarout. I would ask you to approve that and give me the authority to sign the others when we have signed copies from Mr. McFarland, Mr. Legal, and Mr. Maxwell back. And the signed copy we have is over in Blaine's office. So I talked to him early this morning, and it was still just Kenny's lease that we had back. So, but if you could approve that one, and then at least approve the others, let me have the authority to sign those when those come back in. And if there are any changes to those, obviously I will bring those back to you, but I don't anticipate any changes.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner?
I move to authorize the city manager to execute the leases as he described, the one that has been signed by the tenant and the others under the terms that we previously discussed.
I'll second that.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the leases and give the city manager authority to sign those as they come in with signatures. Is there any discussion?
There is a lease amount that's attached to each of these leases, and I know that we had talked about in the study session where that lease amount and where that dollar figure will actually go. Can you tell the public where that?
Well, I will, and if I get this wrong, our Director of Finance will correct me. But we'll receipt that into the city, likely put it into the Economic Development Fund. And what Scott tells me is we can pay that portion out. We have an interest payment coming up on the land on the temporary notes, and we can apply a portion of that to the interest payment that we make. Is that right?
That's correct.
There you go.
Any other
Does
questions?
that answer your question, Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Any other comments? So I guess we have a motion and a second. Can we have the vote, please?
How do you vote, Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
I vote yes, motion carries. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Item 14.
A contract between the City of Ottawa and Franklin County Development Council for the delivery of economic development services in 2015.
Annually, the city reviews the agreement and contracts for economic development services with FCDC, formerly Ottawa Franklin County Economic Development, This contract details services and payment for the 2015 calendar year, and the Director of Franklin County Development Council, Mr. Jeff Seymour, will discuss this with us.
Good morning, Mayor and Commission.
Morning.
We've talked about this several times over the past several weeks, but wanted to give you some formal updates on what this document is and what it isn't. This is an annual reinstatement or annual re-upping of the payment that we have received from the city and also from the county for the delivery of economic development services for this community. You'll see in your contract it spells out the relationship as far as what the payment is, the responsibilities we have back to the city, and then also some, which is some new language this year, on the ability for you to give us some direction if you feel we're going in a direction that you don't like as far as the services we provide, how to communicate that to us, allow us time to either remedy the situation or not, and then it gives you a chance to either stay in or back out of that contract. So really this is essentially the same contract we delivered to you in 2014 with some minor language changes. And really in the ways that I talked about earlier, the way that you can get out of the contract, basically with 60 days notice you can tell us you don't want to be in the contract anymore. And then we have 30 days to remedy any concern that you have. And then the services that we provide, in turn, you would provide us with $62,000 and $62,500 in 2015 for those service deliveries. So I'm happy to answer any questions. One thing I would note too, if you look on page 2, if you see look under amendments and addendums, one thing we did write into this year's contract is the ability to expand our relationship some. One thing we've talked about is expanding the relationships that we have with helping write grants for the community and also provide some marketing services for the new industrial parks. We want to make sure that was included in this year's agreement. Everything else is basically the same as 2014. So, fair, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Seymour? Comments? Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
And I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner.
I move that we approve the contract between the City of Ottawa and Franklin County Development Council for 2015.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve this contract between the City of Ottawa and FCDC for the Economic Development Services in 2015. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, could we have the roll call vote, please?
How do you vote? Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
I vote yes, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. That will move us to report by City Manager, Mr. Neinstead.
Item 15.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I skipped an entire item. I apologize. We'll move back to 15. I'm kind of in a fog this morning for some reason, so.
Approval of resolution to declare 725 North Mulberry as an immediate hazard.
This home at 725 North Mulberry was destroyed by fire on December 15, 2014. It is a recommendation of city staff to declare the structure an immediate hazard, and Mrs. Lee will go through this with us.
Good morning again. Unfortunately, this fire was much more damaging and much more recent. This fire was the middle of December, and the owner indicated to us there was no insurance on the structure. It is in serious deterioration. We actually considered bringing it to you earlier this month, but wanted to give them an opportunity to remove anything that they might still have in there if it can be salvaged. Here you can see part of the damage, and I hope you had a chance to drive by. It is significantly damaged, which is rather unfortunate, but it is not a structure we believe can be repaired. When without insurance, that really leaves them no means to do so. And so it is in a hazardous condition in its current state, and just simply needs to be removed as soon as possible. We have already solicited bids and would be in a position to act as soon as we have your authority to do so. An immediate hazard, the actual language of the statute provides staff the opportunity to just say it has to be done. It's just been Ottawa's history that we come to you and we try to give a little bit of time in there. But this is the kind of circumstance in which you can see why statutes would prevail and allow an immediate action to be taken. We've done a little bit longer time than immediate, but it's certainly not a situation that we want to give months to, because there really isn't much that can be done here except for removal. So, is there any questions?
When we demolish a structure such as this, and I see there's like concrete steps and so forth, or it appears to be from the photos, we take that down to the ground and fill in the hole.
We do. We'll take out everything if the supports for the structure and clear it so that it's a rebuildable site without any debris left on it. If we find anything else, like we just removed one of the other structures that was authorized in November, and we found a well when we got in there. So sometimes you find additional things, and you have to resolve that as well too, because you don't want to leave another hazard or a hole that someone could get hurt in. But it would be cleared and restored to grade and seeded so that it's a vacant mowable lot this spring, or in a position where it could be rebuilt on as soon as somebody's able to do that. We would place a lien for the cost of the demolition against the lot, so that if it's sold, then the city would regain its funds.
So again, just to clarify, the taxpayer money that will be spent to take this down, because there was no insurance, there will be a lien against the particular lot. Once
Right.
the lot is sold, that money will be garnered from the sale of the lot.
Right.
And the city, and ultimately the taxpayers of the city of Ottawa will recoup the funds.
Right.
Any other questions for Wendy? I would need a motion then, please, to approve this resolution.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner.
I move that we approve the resolution to declare 725 North Mulberry as an immediate hazard.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the resolution to declare 725 North Mulberry as an immediate hazard. Is there any discussion?
I'm so sorry for this family. I can't imagine what they've gone through to have this happen to them and to lose their items, their things. Was the family safe? Did the family safely get out? Okay, good. I'm glad that they were safe and uninjured. However, it doesn't mean that there's not an injury on their heart from the loss of this.
Sure. Any other discussion? Could we have the vote, please?
How do you vote? Commissioner Jorgensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kaler?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
I vote yes, motion passes. Thank you. Now we'll move to report by city manager.
Thank you, Commissioners. First thing is to remind you that the joint luncheon this month is in the Franklin County Commission chambers, and that to remind you and the public, and I know the mayor will read this, is that we switched the times of the meetings in February. So that's on the docket, so to speak. So, and the other thing is just a personal statement about January and December. It's been a hard month for members of the city family. We've lost grandmothers, we've lost a grandmother, we've lost a cousin, and my good friend Bob here lost his father. Now I know there are those of us who have lost parents who have, especially the last parent, who have great appreciation for that. And I just hope that we keep everybody that we know that loses someone in our thoughts and prayers, and so.
Thank you. Reports by city commissioners. I can start with Sean, please.
On that note, I just want to thank everybody for their support. My grandmother passed away last week, and so we were gone, and city staff was good about getting information as I was gone. Also, I'm glad to see the Sacred Heart students here today. It maybe wasn't a super exciting meeting, but at least you see some of the things we do, and when you see when there is a house fire, something that doesn't always mean that the house is going to get torn down. There's often ways that we can rehabilitate those properties and bring them back up, and so sometimes there are more exciting things we do, like buying parks or building parks or fun things like that, but it's good to have you guys here this morning.
All right, Commissioner Kaler.
I'd like to thank the Sacred Heart students for being here too. I understand this is part of, is it third grade that learns about government? Yeah, so Amelia, you're learning about government. Awesome. So thank you, all of you, for being here, and I appreciate all of you learning your lines, and I know that that's not easy, and it's really not easy to get up and stand and talk in front of people. Sometimes it takes until you're way much older than you are to actually be able to talk to people in public, so bravo, way to go. I think that's it. Just enjoy the beautiful weather, and I think that's it.
All right, thank you. Commissioner?
I just want to echo the statements about the students that are here. My 3 daughters all attended Sacred Heart, and they've been out a long time. My oldest one is out of college, so that tells you it's been a few years since they were at Sacred Heart School. But it always impresses me about how well behaved the students at Sacred Heart are, and how poised they are when they're speaking at a podium. So congratulations, students. You're getting a good education. That's really all I have this morning.
All right, thank you. Well, I would also agree and also commend those of you that did speak up, and Wade that led the prayer. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us in the Pledge of Allegiance and in our government this morning. I also wanted to comment on, I attended both of the events on Sunday in celebration of Martin Luther King Day, and the all denominations service at Ottawa University Sunday morning was just amazing. All cultural experience, I would say, and it was great for everyone. They took up an offering and raised $500 toward our Play Task Force activities in the city, so that was fantastic. And then the afternoon had a speaker down at Ottawa Municipal Auditorium. That was Trey Walker, K-State football player, fantastic motivational speaker for young people, for old people too. Very, very interesting to hear speak, and some great talent from Ottawa community as well, all to make us be continually reminded about that we need to be open to all different ways of life and diversity in all aspects of our lives. So I appreciated the committee for putting all the work into that for both of those actions. So that was great, both of those activities. I would call your attention to the announcements that are on your agenda there. As Richard talked about, we've changed our meeting on February 4th to an okay, let me read this right. It is City Hall Day at Topeka that day, so we've moved it from a regular 9:30 meeting. No, we moved the evening meeting to a 9:30 meeting in the morning so that we could make sure we had that meeting and not be rushed back to have to do an evening meeting that evening. So other than that, it's your regular meetings. We have study session again on January the 26th and joint luncheon meeting today. And hearing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor,
Commissioner,
I move that we adjourn.
is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.